Bob DiFazio. Welcome to Gearwire.com. I'm an independent music producer, and I am a professor over at Columbia College Chicago. I'm here today to give you all a tutorial and a brief overview of the Mackie Onyx Satellite workstation / interface that you see here behind me. So it's one of the cheaper type of two-channel interfaces that you can buy, and it's altogether fairly well designed and in an interesting way. The reason that it's called a satellite is fairly obvious. I'm going to power it down, and I'm going to show you how the satellite can kind of take off from the dock. So what you've got is a handy little two-channel pair of mic pre's with a FireWire output, basically, that you can take on a field recording or to a show. And then if you connect it back to your base at home and power it up, you experience the full level of capabilities that this device has. So let's take a closer look at it, and I'll show you how the satellite works with the base itself. Here's the front panel of the Onyx Satellite, and I'm going to walk you through what you have on this row of buttons and knobs here. You have an input selector for your two channels, and each channel has 4 different types of inputs that you can select, or I should say 4 different input selectors. First, a microphone, which corresponds to a mic cable that you can plug right into the back of the device, as you might expect. Next door, you have a guitar symbol that lets you know that you can activate the instrument input. Then you have 2 line inputs for each channel. So you could connect a stereo keyboard just to channel 1, which is a step up from your M-Box and most other 2-channel interfaces. So well done, Mackie. Then you go over here to the talkback system, which you don't find on an M-Box, or even a very expensive Design 003, which I think is absolutely absurd, that if you buy a 003, you can't simply say, oh, good take, let's do it again, or that sucked, you know? So there's a mic built right into here, which is really groovy, and you can negotiate your level, and you can talk to the phones, so 2 phones, or you can talk to the DAW. So you can see the sound of my voice is going out the outputs that would go into the computer system. So you can record all that chatter with your artists for your anthology. And then over here on the right, you have your control room monitoring. You can monitor your input, which you can't do on an M-Box or a 003. So I can hear what's directly being plugged in, or if I unpress the button, I can hear what I've just recorded. So both of those things are good. You'd want to have this in when your software is not open, and out when you're recording, so you know you're listening to what you've recorded. Then you can send your control room monitors to all 6 outputs, and you can switch between 2 sets of speakers. So I would say altogether that's wicked flexible for a 2-channel interface. And bear in mind that if you want to connect an instrument, the random thing about this box is you have to press instrument on channel 1 and instrument up here on the satellite. So go figure, but you got to also keep your eye on this button. And there's a phantom power, and that should fairly well explain the front. Now let's flip it over, take a look at the back. Here we are at the back, and you can see you've got 4 inputs and 1 insert for each of your 2 channels. So basically you're going to see the cables that correspond to the buttons on the front. 1 for microphone, 1 for instrument, that's that little guitar symbol. Then you have 2 line inputs for a stereo thing or 2 mono things that you might want to switch between. And then you have an insert. This is an insert point for direct send and return on channel 1. So if you have a balanced cable, you can get a compressor slapped across this before you record it, or you can equalize whatever you're recording before it goes into your machine, which is pretty cool. Then you have the same deal for channel 2, and then you have your discrete outputs, or your separate outputs for mixing. So normally, I would say 99% of the time, anybody who's using this device is going to mix in their software, and all the sound is going to come out of these outputs here, 1 and 2, or left and right. But if you so chose, to mix on a 6-channel console, if you can find one of those things, you would be able to send some of your tracks out of these individual holes, or if you needed to use these for like monitoring, if you needed to cue someone, you could use these holes here. And then you have 2 control room outputs, so you can connect 2 pairs of speakers and check out your mix on different monitors, see how it translates. So not bad. Now we take a gander at the software that comes with this thing called Traction.